Hey, beautiful Gemini souls, come sit with me for a moment, because what I am about to share with you today is something that has been weighing on many of your hearts. I know you have been feeling it, that shift in the energy between you and your partner, that person you thought you knew inside and out after all these years together. And I want you to know that what you are experiencing is real. It is valid, and more importantly, God is right there with you in this confusing moment. He sees your heart. He knows your pain, and He is about to reveal something profound through this reading today. Before we dive into the cards, I just want to take a second to acknowledge how brave you are for being here, for seeking guidance, for wanting to understand what is happening in your relationship. It takes so much courage to face the truth when things feel different, when the person sleeping next to you suddenly feels like a stranger. But here is what I know about Gemini energy, and here is what God has been showing me lately. You are built for transformation. You are designed to adapt. And right now, you are being called into a deeper level of spiritual maturity in your love life. So, I pulled 6 cards for you today. And let me tell you, the moment I laid these cards out, I felt the Holy Spirit just rushing through this reading. There is so much happening beneath the surface of your relationship right now, and God wants to bring it all into the light. Not to hurt you, but to heal you. Not to destroy what you have built, but to rebuild it on a foundation that can actually hold the weight of the love you both deserve. Let me start by saying this. Change in a partner after many years together is not always a bad thing. Sometimes God allows relationships to go through these wilderness seasons because He is doing surgery on both hearts. He is removing what no longer serves. He is exposing what was hidden. And He is preparing both of you for a level of intimacy and connection that you could not have accessed if everything had stayed comfortable and familiar. So take a deep breath with me right now, because we are about to go deep into what the divine is revealing about your situation. The first card that came through for you is the Hermit. And I have to pause here because this card is so significant for what you are experiencing right now. Your partner has gone into themselves, Gemini. They have withdrawn, and you have felt it. You have felt them pulling away emotionally, maybe even physically. They are not as present during conversations. They do not light up the way they used to when you walk into the room. And you are wondering what happened to the person who used to be so engaged with you, so connected to you. But here is what God is showing me through this Hermit energy. Your partner is on a spiritual journey right now that they might not even fully understand themselves. They are in a season of deep introspection, questioning who they are, what they want, where they are headed in life. And sometimes when we go through these internal transformations, we have to go inward first before we can come back out and connect with others in a healthy way. This is not about you, even though I know it feels personal. This is about them doing the inner work that God has been calling them to do, possibly for years. The Hermit carries a lantern in the darkness, searching for truth. Your partner is searching for their own truth right now. They are asking themselves hard questions about identity, purpose, fulfillment. And for you, the one who loves them, this season feels like abandonment. It feels like rejection. You are reaching out, and they are not reaching back the way they used to, and that hurts deeply. I hear you, I see you, and God sees you too, but let me offer you a different perspective that might bring you some peace. What if this withdrawal is not the end of your story together, but the beginning of a new chapter? What if God is allowing your partner to find themselves so that when they come back to the relationship, they come back whole? Think about it. How many years have you two been together operating on autopilot, going through the motions, staying together out of habit rather than genuine choice and desire? Sometimes God shakes things up because He loves you too much to let you settle for a mediocre love story. Now, I want you to pray about something specific during this Hermit season. Pray for patience. Pray for understanding. Pray that God gives you the grace to hold space for your partner's journey without taking it personally, without making their growth about your inadequacy. Because here is the truth. Their need for solitude and self-discovery is not a reflection of your worth. You are still valuable. You are still lovable. You are still deserving of a partnership that fulfills you. This moment is about them finding their way back to themselves so they can show up better for you. And while they are on their hermit journey, God is also inviting you into your own season of self-reflection. What have you been avoiding looking at in yourself? Where have you been codependent? Where have you lost yourself in the relationship? This is not about blame. This is about growth. Both of you are being called higher right now. And sometimes that means walking separate paths for a season, so you can come back together on more solid ground. The second card that appeared is the Death card. And before you panic, let me remind you that death in tarot is rarely about physical death. It is about transformation, endings that make way for new beginnings, the shedding of old skin so new skin can grow. And in the context of your relationship, Gemini, this card is screaming one clear message. The version of your partnership that you have known for years is dying. And you need to let it die. I know that sounds harsh, but stay with me. Think about the relationship you had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever you first got together. That relationship was beautiful for that season, but you are not the same people anymore. Your partner is not the same person. You are not the same person, and trying to force the old dynamic to work in this new season is like trying to fit into jeans from high school. It might be possible, but it is uncomfortable, restrictive, and ultimately not sustainable. God is using this Death card to tell you that transformation is not the enemy. Change is not betrayal. The fact that your partner has changed after many years together is not a tragedy. It is actually a sign of a healthy human being who is continuing to grow and evolve. The tragedy would be if both of you stayed exactly the same, never growing, never changing, never becoming more of who God created you to be. But here is where it gets tricky. And I am going to be really honest with you, because you need to hear this. Not all relationships are meant to survive every transformation. Sometimes two people grow in different directions, and the most loving thing they can do is acknowledge that truth and release each other with grace. I am not saying that is what is happening in your situation, but I am saying you need to be open to whatever God is trying to show you through this death energy. What if the person your partner is becoming is not compatible with the person you are becoming? What if the changes you are both going through are actually revealing that you want different things, value different things, are heading toward different destinations in life? That is not failure. That is clarity. And sometimes God allows relationships to go through death and rebirth, not so they can stay together, but so they can complete what they came together to learn, and then move forward separately with love and respect. On the flip side, what if this Death card is actually the best thing that could happen to your relationship? What if God is killing off all the toxic patterns, all the resentment, all the ways you have been hurting each other unconsciously, all the baggage from the past that has been weighing down your connection? What if on the other side of this death is a resurrection? A relationship that is more authentic, more intentional, more aligned with who you both truly are at your core. I want you to pray for discernment during this death season. Pray that God shows you clearly what needs to die and what is meant to be reborn. Pray for the courage to let go of the old version of your relationship without clinging to it out of fear. Pray for trust that whatever is on the other side of this transformation is exactly what you need, even if it looks different than what you expected. And here is something else. The Death card is highlighting for you, specifically as a Gemini. You are an air sign, which means you live in your head a lot. You analyze, you overthink, you try to figure everything out mentally. But death and transformation are not mental processes. They are deeply emotional and spiritual. You cannot think your way through this season. You have to feel your way through it. You have to surrender to the process and trust that God is holding both you and your partner, even when everything feels like it is falling apart. The third card that showed up is the Ten of Cups. And this is where things get really interesting, because this is the card of ultimate emotional fulfillment. Happy family, divine love, the kind of relationship that feels like a blessing from heaven. And you might be looking at this card and thinking, how does this fit with everything else you just said about my partner changing and relationships dying? Let me explain what God is showing me here. The Ten of Cups is not showing you where you are right now. It is showing you where you are headed if you do the work. This card is the promise, the light at the end of the tunnel, the reason why you are going through all this transformation and upheaval. God is saying, I am not putting you through this pain for no reason. I am putting you through this pain because on the other side is a love that is so much more fulfilling, so much more authentic, so much more aligned with my design for your life. Now here is the question you need to sit with. Is that Ten of Cups future with your current partner, or is it with someone else? Is God transforming your current relationship into something beautiful, or is He preparing you to release this relationship so you can eventually meet the person who will give you that Ten of Cups energy? I do not have that answer for you, and honestly, you might not have that answer yet either. But what I do know is that the Ten of Cups is coming for you, Gemini. That kind of love, that kind of emotional fulfillment, that kind of partnership, where both people are fully themselves and fully committed, it is in your future. And if that Ten of Cups is meant to be with your current partner, then everything you are going through right now is the necessary preparation. Think about it. You cannot have a Ten of Cups relationship with two people who have not done their inner work. You cannot have that level of intimacy and connection with two people who are still carrying around unhealed wounds and unexamined patterns. The hermit journey your partner is on, the death transformation you are both experiencing, these are the prerequisites for the Ten of Cups. But I also want to speak to the possibility that this Ten of Cups is calling you toward a different future, and there is no shame in that. Sometimes God brings people together for a season to teach each other important lessons, to help each other grow, to be companions on part of the journey, but not the whole journey. And if that is what is happening here, the Ten of Cups is God's way of saying, I have not forgotten about you. Your happy ending is still coming. This current pain is not the end of your love story. What I am sensing strongly through this Ten of Cups energy is that you need to raise your standards, Gemini. You need to stop settling for a relationship that feels more like roommates than soulmates. You need to stop accepting breadcrumbs of affection and attention when God has a whole feast prepared for you. Whether that feast is with your current partner after you both transform, or with someone new down the road, you need to start believing that you deserve the Ten of Cups. You deserve a partner who chooses you every single day, who shows up fully, who loves you not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire and appreciation. Not pray about this Ten of Cups vision. Ask God to show you clearly what this card means for your specific situation. Ask Him to give you the faith to believe that emotional fulfillment is possible for you, even when your current circumstances look nothing like that. Ask Him to prepare your heart for the level of love that is coming, whether that means healing your current relationship or releasing it to make space for something new. The fourth card in your reading is the Ace of Wands, and this is such a powerful card for new beginnings, fresh starts, creative energy, passion being reignited. This card is all about that spark, that initial burst of inspiration and excitement that makes you feel alive. And in the context of your relationship situation, the Ace of Wands is bringing a very specific message. There is new passion coming, Gemini. There is a fresh start available to you. But here's the thing about aces. They represent potential, possibility, the seed of something that could grow into something beautiful. But a seed is not a tree yet. A seed needs the right conditions to grow. It needs soil and water and sunlight and time. The Ace of Wands is showing you that the potential for renewal exists in your situation. But potential is not the same as guarantee. What I am hearing from Spirit is that you have a choice to make. You can take this Ace of Wands energy and use it to reignite passion in your current relationship. Or you can take this energy and channel it into creating a new life for yourself, whether that includes your partner or not. This card is about your personal power, your ability to create, your capacity to start fresh, no matter what has happened in the past. If you choose to use this Ace of Wands energy to rebuild with your current partner, it is going to require both of you to show up differently. It is going to require honest conversations about what has changed and why. It is going to require both of you to take responsibility for the ways you have contributed to the distance and disconnection. It is going to require vulnerability, humility, and a willingness to try new things, to date each other again, to remember why you fell in love in the first place. But I am also sensing that this Ace of Wands might be calling you personally into a new chapter of self-discovery and empowerment. Maybe you have lost yourself over the years in this relationship. Maybe you have put your own dreams and desires on hold to keep the peace or maintain the status quo. Maybe God is using this situation to wake you up to your own potential, to remind you that you are not just someone's partner. You are your own person with your own purpose and your own path. The Ace of Wands is fire energy, and fire transforms everything it touches. So the question is, what needs to be burned away in your life right now? What old beliefs about yourself, about relationships, about what you deserve, need to go up in flames so something new can be born? What passions have you neglected? What dreams have you abandoned? What version of yourself have you been suppressing to fit into the role of the comfortable, long-term partner? This card is giving me strong vibes that part of why your partner has changed is because they are responding to energy shifts in you that maybe you have not even fully acknowledged yet. Relationships are mirrors, and sometimes when one person starts to wake up to their own stagnation or dissatisfaction, the other person senses it and starts pulling away or changing too. It is not conscious, it is energetic. And what God might be showing you through this Ace of Wands is that you have more power in this situation than you realize. You are not a victim of your partner's changes. You are a co-creator in whatever happens next. And that is both scary and empowering. It means you cannot just sit back and wait for your partner to come back to you, or explain themselves, or suddenly become who they used to be. It means you have to step into your own power, clarify what you truly want, and be willing to pursue that even if it makes waves, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it means the relationship does not survive in its current form. Pray for courage as you hold this Ace of Wands energy. Pray that God shows you where to direct this creative, passionate, fresh start energy. Pray for wisdom to know whether to invest it back into your relationship or into yourself and your own journey. And pray for the fire of the Holy Spirit to burn away anything in you that is not aligned with your highest good and God's perfect plan for your life. The fifth card here is the Queen of Cups, and this card is showing up as a direct message about emotional maturity and intuitive wisdom. The Queen of Cups sits on her throne by the water, holding her cup carefully, fully in touch with her emotions, but not overwhelmed by them. She is compassionate, nurturing, deeply intuitive, and emotionally intelligent. And God is calling you to embody this Queen of Cups energy as you navigate what is happening in your relationship. Here is what I am hearing specifically for you, Gemini. You have been feeling all the feelings during this season: the confusion, the hurt, the anger, the fear, the grief. And all of those emotions are valid and appropriate given what you are experiencing. But the Queen of Cups is inviting you to move from just feeling your emotions to actually understanding them, processing them, and using them as guidance rather than letting them control you. Your intuition has been speaking to you loudly during this time. You have known on some level that something was shifting with your partner long before it became obvious. You have felt the energy change, You have noticed the small ways they pulled back. You have sensed the distance growing, and part of you has been trying to ignore it, trying to convince yourself it is all in your head, trying to talk yourself out of what you know to be true. The Queen of Cups is saying, stop doubting your intuition. Stop gaslighting yourself. You know what you know, but knowing something and acting on it are two different things. And this is where the Queen of Cups wisdom becomes so important. Just because you know your partner has changed does not mean you immediately know what to do about it. Just because you sense the relationship is in trouble does not mean you have clarity about whether to fight for it or let it go. The Queen of Cups teaches us that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is sit with our emotions, honor them, express them in healthy ways, and wait for divine clarity before taking action. I am also getting a strong message through this Queen of Cups that you need to mother yourself right now. You need to give yourself the love, compassion, and nurturing that maybe you have been hoping your partner would give you. You need to fill your own cup instead of waiting for someone else to fill it for you. Because here is a hard truth that the Queen of Cups knows. You cannot have a healthy relationship with someone else if you do not first have a healthy relationship with yourself. Maybe part of why your partner's changes have rocked you so deeply is because you have been depending on them for your emotional stability, for your sense of worth, for your happiness. And when they shifted, when they went on their hermit journey and started changing, it left you feeling unmoored and lost. But the Queen of Cups is showing you that this is actually an opportunity to develop your own emotional sovereignty, to learn how to hold yourself through difficult times, to discover that you are actually much stronger and more capable than you have been giving yourself credit for. Another layer of this Queen of Cups message is about boundaries and self-respect. This queen knows how to be loving and compassionate without being a doormat. She knows how to hold space for others without losing herself. She knows when to pour from her cup and when to protect it. And right now, you need to ask yourself some honest questions about boundaries in your relationship. Have you been accepting behavior that does not honor you? Have you been making excuses for your partner's emotional unavailability? Have you been so focused on understanding them and giving them space that you have neglected to honor your own needs and feelings? The Queen of Cups in her highest expression is deeply loving, but also deeply self-respecting. She will not beg for someone's presence or attention. She will not chase someone who is running away. She will not diminish herself to make someone else comfortable. And I think God is calling you into this kind of dignified, self-respecting love right now. A love that honors the other person's journey, but does not sacrifice your own well-being in the process. Pray that God develops the Queen of Cups qualities in you during this season. Pray for emotional wisdom and maturity. Pray for the ability to trust your intuition while also staying grounded and centered. Pray that you learn how to love yourself with the same tenderness and care that you have been giving to your partner. Pray for boundaries that protect your heart without closing it off completely. And pray for the grace to navigate these emotional waters with dignity and faith. The final card in your reading is the Seven of Cups. And I have to tell you, when this card showed up, I literally felt God saying, pay attention to this one because it is revealing something critical about your situation. The Seven of Cups is the card of illusions, fantasies, choices, and confusion. In the image, there is a figure standing before 7 cups floating in the clouds, each cup containing something different. Some treasures, some illusions, some real opportunities, and some distractions. Here is what this card is revealing about your relationship situation, Gemini. You have been living in fantasy about who your partner is and what your relationship actually is. Over the years, you have built up a story in your mind about your partnership, about who they are, about what you mean to each other. And now that they are changing, now that reality is crashing in, you are having to confront the gap between the fantasy you have been holding on to and the truth of what actually exists. Maybe you have been telling yourself that your relationship is fine when deep down you have known for a long time that something was missing. Maybe you have been romanticizing the past, remembering the good times through rose-colored glasses, while conveniently forgetting all the ways the relationship has been slowly dying for years. Maybe you have been so busy with life, with work, with kids, with responsibilities, that you have been operating on autopilot, assuming everything was okay without actually checking in and doing the real work of maintaining intimacy and connection. The Seven of Cups is also highlighting that you have some decisions to make, and those decisions are not as clear-cut as you might want them to be. You are looking at multiple possible futures right now, and none of them are guaranteed. There is the future where you and your partner do the hard work and rebuild something beautiful together. There is the future where you try to make it work, but ultimately realize you have grown too far apart. There is the future where you leave the relationship and discover yourself in a whole new way. There is the future where you stay but settle for something mediocre because change feels too scary. All of these futures are sitting in front of you like those 7 cups, and you have to choose which one you are going to reach for. But here is the tricky part. Some of those cups contain real treasure, and some contain illusions. How do you know which is which? This is where you need to get brutally honest with yourself. You need to stop fantasizing about who you want your partner to be and see them for who they actually are right now. You need to stop clinging to the relationship you used to have and assess whether the relationship you have now is actually meeting your needs. God is using the 7 of Cups to wake you up from any delusions you have been living under. And I know that sounds harsh, but it is actually an act of love, because you cannot make empowered decisions from a place of illusion and confusion. You can only make empowered decisions from a place of clarity and truth. So the real work for you right now is to cut through all the fantasy, all the wishful thinking, all the stories you have been telling yourself, and get real about what is actually happening. I am also sensing through this card that you might be distracting yourself right now, keeping yourself busy so you do not have to face the hard questions. Maybe you are scrolling social media, looking at other people's seemingly perfect relationships and feeling bad about your own. Maybe you are daydreaming about how things used to be instead of dealing with how things are. Maybe you are fantasizing about some dramatic confrontation or breakthrough moment that will magically fix everything. But the 7 of Cups is saying, those are all distractions from the real work. The real work is prayer, introspection, honest conversation, seeking counsel from wise people who know you and love you, and ultimately surrendering the outcome to God. You cannot control whether your partner continues to change or how they change. You cannot control whether this relationship survives or not, but you can control whether you are living in truth or living in illusion. You can control whether you are making choices from a place of clarity or a place of confusion. Here is my final word for you through this 7 of Cups energy. Get still. Get quiet. Get honest. Ask God to show you which of these cups contains what is real and which contain illusions. Ask Him to give you eyes to see your situation clearly without the fog of fantasy or fear. Ask Him to help you make decisions that are aligned with your true values and your true desires, not just with what feels comfortable or familiar. And trust that even if the truth is painful, it is still better than living in illusion. So Gemini, as we close out this reading, I just want to remind you of something really important. You are not alone in this. God has not abandoned you, even though it might feel like it during this confusing season. He is right there with you, working in ways you cannot see yet, preparing something better than you can imagine. Your partner's changes are not happening to you. They are happening for you, because God loves you too much to let you settle for a love story that is less than what He designed for. You, Whether that means this: relationship gets transformed into something more beautiful, or whether it means you get released from this relationship to make space for something new. Either way, you are being guided, you are being held, and you are being loved by a God who knows exactly what you need. So take a deep breath, trust the process, do your inner work, and know that the 10 of Cups is coming for you. That emotional fulfillment, that deep love, that partnership that feels like a blessing, it is already on its way. Keep the faith, keep praying, and keep believing that your best love story is still being written.